Do you mind if I say a prayer before we start?
Not at all.
Okay. Dear most gracious Heavenly Father, we come to you again simply to say thank you. Thank you for allowing us this space, this time to be present in this moment, Lord God. Thank you for allowing Kareem to be a guest on Momversations. Thank you for allowing us this space to talk and to bring light to very important situations that a lot of people struggle with and face day to day in parenting. I ask that this conversation resonates with someone and someone is able to take away something that is said to help them on their journey. I ask that you give us traveling grace back to our destinations. Allow us to have a good rest of our day, good rest of our year, and we just thank you for everything that you're doing in our lives. I'll forever give you all praise, honor, and glory. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Amen. What's milking, Mama? What's milking, Mama? What's milking, Mamas? Welcome back to another episode of Momversation X Dad Knows. As promised, for June, I am passing the mic over to the dads. They have something to say too, you know. They're going through parenting, they're learning, they're growing just as well as us moms are. And I really felt that it was necessary to give them this space to let us know how they feel. You know, they may not always voice how they feel, and it's time to change that. I want to take a moment to talk about how important it is to give dads their flowers. They don't get enough space to be seen, to be heard, or to be celebrated. And this month, we're changing that on Momversations because behind every strong dad is a more powerful story. Today is a very special episode because it is a true testament to how everything always aligns for your good. Our guest today is someone that I met on Instagram. I knew that I wanted to interview dads. I wanted to reach out to dads that were in the LA area to give them this platform. I was scrolling on Instagram. I ran into the Daddy Stroller Walk page, and I kind of did my research. I said, let me see who's behind all this. Who's the man with the plan? And lo and behold, I found our guest. I do want to say, as someone who is a podcaster, as someone who is starting this journey, do not be afraid to ask. Do not be afraid to shoot your shot. Do not be afraid to speak up when you feel a desire to, because you never know what can become from you doing so. And today is just a testament of that. I reached out to him on Instagram. He was very responsive and open to doing it. And to be honest, I was just jumping up and down like, oh, I did it, because doing something different can be hard. You know what I mean? And I'm just grateful that he took my invitation with open arms and is here to drop some gems for you guys. So today, our very special guest is Kareem. This guest is doing something that I don't think people talk about enough. He is a father, a son, a husband, and also a community leader, making sure that dads don't get left out of the conversation, especially when it comes to the hardest parts of parenting. He is a chapter rep for the Daddy Stroller Club right here in LA, where they create spaces for dads to feel heard, be supported, and seen. They are also opening up the conversation about postpartum depression in dads, and I'm so ready to hear the gems that he have, the things that he's experienced, and his journey. So without further ado, please welcome Kareem to the Momversations podcast.
Hey, thank you so much for having me.
Yes, how you
Pleasure to be here.
doing?
I'm doing well.
Good. Thank you for being here. Like I said before, I appreciate you being receptive to me reaching out, because I was a little apprehensive just by nature, not because of anything really. But yeah, I appreciate you being here, taking time out of your day being a husband and a father to come sit and drop some gems for the people.
Of course, my pleasure.
Yes. So before we get started, I'm going to ask every dad this question. How are you? Not the kids, not your household, not work, but how are you doing?
Me, I'm doing well. I'm a type of, first and foremost, I'm a type of man that always looks to improve on himself and his situation. And as I continue to, and as I'll put it in this way, master fatherhood, I could sit back and really, understand and have some gratitude towards myself and some grace towards myself with the work that I have done.
Yes.
So far I've been there, I've been supportive, been present. So, I've been happy with that. And I'm the type of father that gets happiness from seeing my family happy. So the fact that everyone is okay, I feel good.
Yes, that's a good man, Savannah. No. So introduce yourself to us. Tell us who you are as a dad, as a father. As a dad, as a husband, and as a man.
Again, my name is Kareem Edwards. Originally, I'm from Trinidad and Tobago. Came here in 2007, looking for the American dream. Definitely found it in various ways. Ultimately, now having a family. I was married, or I got married in 2019, just right before COVID hit. So, our honeymoon and things like that was kind of short-lived, but just the experience itself for me was the honeymoon. And, it kind of taught me with COVID how important it is to really have a strong bond with your partner going into marriage, because things like that really test. And during that time, we heard so many couples broke up, so many relationships, couldn't survive because of the intense period of time where you had to really deal with each other.
That was a trying time.
Right, that was a real test, and we kind of did so well that I was so convinced that everything would go well, in our plans and just the way we dealt with each other. And as time went on, in my family, not a lot of children came from an intentional, discussion around being pregnant and being parents. Everyone just came haphazardly, hey, I'm pregnant, let's raise this kid together, or let's not. Because I was raised in a fatherless home. So, me and my wife was more intentional about it. We wanted to have my son and a boy, essentially. And we went about doing it, We didn't take long. It happened. We were happy. And at this point in time, nothing could kind of derail us from where we want to be as supportive parents and, a happy household.
Yeah, and you lucky for getting what you wanted on the first go around.
Right, exactly.
Because I wanted a boy and I got two girls. So I'm like, oh my goodness. But I'm a firm believer that you get what you need.
Right,
exactly. So you guys were the perfect parents for this young man that is coming up in the world. What does a typical day look like for you, juggling fatherhood and your personal life?
Well, my career is a little different. So I know not every father has the same exposure and time. I work in property management, so I work on site. I do operations, so I'm in charge of mechanical maintenance and systems in the building. So my family lives there as well. So I start my day early at 8, do my work. Could be hands-on, could be office work, could be taking care of other sites. And at lunch, I usually go home, spend the hour with my son, give my wife an hour break, which is not usually the case. A lot of husbands can't do that. Usually we work, so far away and we have to wait till the end of the day. But I'm able to do that just because I want to be there. I want to give my wife the support and also, miss seeing my son sometimes. Then go back to work, knock out the last 4 hours, come home, and during that time I kind of try to think about some things or activities I can get involved with my son. We do that with or without my wife, based on how she feels, again, trying to be supportive because she's there with that guy, with that gremlin all day. So, and then we put him down, get him to sleep. We spend time together before, I go to sleep for work the next day because my wife is the stay-at-home wife.
Yeah. Ooh, she living a life. I'm not, it comes with its ups and downs,
definitely.
I know the luxury that she has to be home, to be able to nurture your child, to be able to pour into your children, because most moms have to go back to work quickly, or they don't have the luxury to stay at home and pour into the child. But on the other hand, I understand, like you said, the little gremlin, sometimes you're just like, I need some space.
Exactly.
So It's a blessing, all in all, it really
Hmm.
is. What was the first year of parenting like for you as a father?
To be honest, the first year was very difficult because I went into it, I underestimated it quite a lot. Because I'm a person. If I know I'm getting into something, I'll research it a lot. Try to read. I read a lot of podcasts. I listened to podcasts. Read a lot of audiobooks about it. Being pregnant, what to expect in the first week, how to be there for your wife, and your baby mama and things like that. And we actually intentionally had him overseas, right? Just for citizenship reasons, so that when he gets to 18, he could do whatever he wants. So I remember having fraternity leave, being there, but I treated it like a holiday. I'm off work, hey, I'm playing ball here, working out, going out. But then when my son came, I underestimated how much energy that would take from me being there to support my wife as well as my son. And that was the intent of the fraternity leave,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So I underestimated the amount of pressure that would put on me. So it was tough for me because I just wasn't prepared, really, mentally. And with a newborn, there's a lot of fears involved with
Yes,
them in the
yes.
early stages, and then also just them needing you every time, every moment of the night, really. When they're feeling, obviously, the different feelings babies go through as they're coming into the new world. And then also my wife being tired, needing things, needing the support, needing the rest ultimately.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it was tough, but I definitely took it with stride. I wanted to be intentionally present and supportive. So, I toughed it out. I understand early what it took, and I adjusted. And I did what I needed to do to be awake, to be present, and also to take care of myself so that I could be there supportive and not resent my wife because she has all these needs and I'm not,
Yes.
I don't have the energy or I didn't sleep enough because I didn't take it seriously, right?
Yeah.
So I wanted to make sure I did the things that I needed to do to make her feel safe and make her feel supported
Yeah.
during that
And
time.
you said your son was born overseas. Where was he born?
Yes, he was born in Hong Kong because my
Oh,
wife, she's from Hong Kong,
okay.
which is essentially part of China. And the reason we did that was we wanted him to have as much time growing up to spend with his grandparents, and we didn't want to have any citizenship or visa complications to get in the way. And with China, aka Hong Kong, you have to live there at least 7 years in
Oh,
order to get
wow.
citizenship.
Okay.
You just can't be a citizenship through. You just can't be a citizen through descent, where your parents are a citizen, you're automatically a citizen like America. You
Yeah.
have to actually live there for 7 years. So we didn't want to deal with that, so we had him born there. And since I'm an American citizen, he became an American citizen through descent.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I love that you guys were being proactive, I know you said that in Hong Kong you were able to get like fatherhood, maternity leave pretty much. Can you talk about that, how different it may be from America versus how it was there?
It definitely is different because I know it's our first child, so we're going through it based on that experience compared to what we've only heard. Um, But I would say there was a lot of challenges because their system of pregnancy and dealing with birth is totally different and more strict than it is here. Here the dad could be by the side of the mother most of the times, could be supportive, could hold the baby when he's born, could sometimes cut the umbilical cord. It's not that free over there.
Really?
I literally saw my son for 30 seconds, and then I didn't see him for maybe another 36 hours
Huh?
because they just want to make sure he's good to go. So when he came
Wow.
out, brief show, hey, this is your son. Oh, he looks like me. He looks like my wife. Boom, he's gone. Mainly just to run tests, make sure he's good to go, and then also my wife, and she also had complications and that she had to deal with, and it took a lot from me personally because I was waiting for that experience. So
Yeah.
that's something that was different. And then also, they have you waiting by yourself a lot. You want to be present, you want to
Of
be
course,
supportive, but
yeah.
they have their limits when it comes to this exposure with the mom, just being in that area where other moms are. So I was waiting around a lot, not knowing what's going on.
Yeah.
And then one nurse had to come after all these hours saying, "Oh yeah, everything's good. We're just testing." Soon became, "Okay, I have to come back tomorrow."
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and that was
That's
kind of
interesting.
nerve-wracking in the beginning, being first time in the experience. But finally, you know, she was safe and my son was safe, and I was able to see him the next day.
That's good. How long did you guys stay in Hong Kong before you came back to the United States?
Well, just for health reasons, wanted to make sure my son was healthy enough to fly,
Yeah.
which we saw was around 5 to 6 months.
Okay.
So he was there for 5 to 6 months. I was there 2 months initially for my paternity leave. I returned to work here, and then around the 6 month mark, I came back for a month, kind of get them ready to come back to America. Yeah.
You got a story.
Oh yeah.
And I'm just intrigued to hear how, and I mean, I see like on TikTok and Instagram and stuff, how different countries operate and do things differently, but it's just amazing to hear that everyone's birth story is not the same, you know, and every country doesn't do the same or practice the same, you know,
Yeah.
practice the same thing. So he's going to be well-rounded, very well-rounded. I did hear you say that you was not, that your dad was not present. How was that growing up?
It wasn't too bad, only because I think my mother and grandmother made it made it easy to the point where I didn't really experience the absence of him. You know, they provided everything I needed, really. And I would say growing up around mainly, what can I say, a female dominant house kind of helped me a lot with my emotions and understanding it early.
That's
So, you know, it helps in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, a lot of kids that I grew up with had the same situation where they didn't have dad. So it wasn't where it's like, okay, well, oh, he has a dad, where's my dad? I didn't have too much realizations like that until I got older.
Yeah.
And then I was old enough to understand sometimes it just doesn't work out. So I didn't necessarily grow up feeling like I missed anything, only because, you know, growing up in the islands, we allow our children to have a certain amount of freedom anyway. So it wasn't anything that was outlier that I had to focus on all the time, though.
Okay.
Yeah, it was pretty much normal.
I mean, I know you're a man and I'm a woman, but I didn't grow up with my dad either, you know, so I can relate to a lot of that, you know. I didn't miss anything also. My grandfather was very present in my life. He was pretty much my dad. I was in a bowling club. He took me fishing. You know, he didn't say she's a girl, so she's only limited to do a certain amount of things. So I was just interested to hear your experience because I too didn't, you know, grow up with my dad, but I don't feel like, no shade, but I don't feel like I missed anything or I didn't have those abandonment issues or feelings, you know, dad issues as people call it. But I mean, it all doesn't work out. Sometimes it doesn't work out, but I feel that everything happens for a reason.
True.
You know.
True. And you know, my dad, I guess at the time he wasn't living the best life, so the absence might have been, you know, beneficial.
Yeah. So I do want to ask a few questions about the Daddy Stroller Club.
Yeah.
Tell us about the Stroller Club, what it is, how did you get involved, and what does it mean to you personally?
Yeah, so the Daddy Stroller Social Club, it's, you know, was founded by Calvin Bridgewater out of Dallas, Texas. He started it with a few friends, just wanted to get together, just to be able to have a safe space for him and his other friends who were also dads to vent and kind of be there to support each other. And over time, just understanding the need, it grew, and him having the mindset of, you know, we benefit from this. I'm sure a lot of dads could do that, and just you know, continuing to incorporate other fathers and continue to grow as the need was realized over time, and it became a national thing. I saw it just like you on Instagram, and being a new dad, I felt like it could offer a lot of resources for me, you know. And like I said, the first year was pretty tough.
Yeah.
And I a calculated guy enough to know, okay, if I'm going into something and I'm struggling up front, let me try to get as much resources as I can to kind of mitigate that trouble.
Right.
Because the last thing I want my son to do is to see that struggle.
Yeah.
It's to understand, like, oh man, dad's struggling. You know, although at that age he might not be able to recall that, I just don't want him to grow up with any type of negative, to lose out on anything because I wasn't prepared.
Yeah.
So I intentionally went in just trying to soak up as much resources from them as I could. They were very supportive, very intentional with how, especially me wanting to be part of it, not just be there. Intentional with me understanding like this is what we're here for. We're very professional. We're here to support dads, create space, and also create a brotherhood around
Yeah.
this support. Yeah, and how it's structured is, every month we try to meet up. We release the location closer to the date. But we want to just create that discussion, create that discussion with the dads, whether it be in the groups or just who we meet, to understand what they go through, to understand that, we all go through the same thing, and maybe along the lines, we went through the exact same thing that you
Yeah.
might have went through.
Yeah.
So just being around other dads like that helps, and it gives us kind of like that ease and that
Definitely.
understanding, like, we're not in it on our own. It's okay to seek help. A lot of dads, it's hard to ask for help, so I feel like creating a safe space where we could literally just come together as a brotherhood, which
Yeah.
it's easy for men to do.
Yeah.
We kind of get into that, and without asking, kind of receive what we need.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's needed. I'm telling you, when I saw it, I was really amazed by the number of men that was there.
Yeah.
To actively seek a space for you to learn and be poured into.
Right.
One, I commend, because it's not easy to ask for help, but I appreciate the founder for seeing that need, because it's blossoming. It
Yeah,
really is. It's super
yeah.
cool. I like it. I might have to take a mom walk or a stroller
Yeah,
walk or
yeah,
something.
yeah. And we do it with just the mindset of creating that support. As much as we say it's for dads and creating that brotherhood, is creating that support also to the mom so she can have her time.
Yeah.
Taking the kids away for whether it be a half a day or whatnot, just allowing her to be able to, you know what, let me have the house to myself, let me go do my nails, let me
Yes.
pamper myself a bit.
Yes.
And, we encourage the dad to remind her of that, hey, this is your time to do what you need to do. It's important.
Yeah.
It creates a balance.
It does.
If
It
maybe the dad has an intensive job during the week and just on the weekends he's free to do that, at least that is the intentional time for
Yeah.
the mom to have her time.
I feel that is amazing because we all need our cups poured into. You know
yeah.
what I mean? Fathers, dads, they need their cups poured into, and so does moms, to be able to foster a healthy environment for
Yeah.
our children. I am a firm believer that we need to be okay for our children to be okay.
1,000%.
Why is it important for dads to feel seen? Why do you think that that's something that is needed?
I would say as the society changes, I know back in the day, men were usually taught, or what can I say, programmed to be monotone with how we approach things and decisions and how much feelings we forecast to the world. And I feel as we get smarter, naturally our EQ grows as a society. We kind of understand that, there's a lot of loneliness and, battles that go on within men to be, well, for the men who care, to be effective and productive men, and there's a lot of battles that we fight that aren't discussed because we understand we might not be understood. We might be
Yeah.
understood by a fellow brother, but not all the time the fellow brother might be in the same space as we are
Yeah.
to be able to discuss it with them. And it's important that, during those battles, we know that, there's other realms that you could tap in to deal with it
Yeah.
and to, what can I say, get support in those fights.
Yeah.
And as we as a society understand that, I feel like, and as I was speaking to your fellow co-host here as well, as a society, we grow and we understand the needs that we have, and we adapt as we what can I say, as we evolve. We understand there's needs and we fill it.
Yeah.
And I feel like naturally we understood the need as we grew in our EQ, that fathers do need that support, that emotional support, because sometimes you might not see it here, but in Japan, where there's a lot of pressure on dads to fit this role, there's a lot of suicides.
Yeah. Oh.
And, there's a lot of dads, as we say, crashing out now. There's a lot of homes breaking up because dads don't understand the postpartum process that women go through a lot. They just see themselves wanting something from their wife or their baby mama and them not being able to provide it because sometimes they're fighting their own battles. They're not able to conceptualize themselves. So just that moment of misunderstanding can totally break up a whole family unit that could have
Definitely.
otherwise, if they had the knowledge and if society had the resources, could have stayed together and it could have turned out a much, oh, the situation could have come out a much better way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. So since we're talking about postpartum depressions and
Mm-hmm.
that, let us know what that is for the people that may not know, and
Mm-hmm.
explain, what it is.
Yeah, so postpartum, it happens obviously more intensely in women because they go through the more changes, whether it be from just lack of not wanting to, to be pregnant, to be moms, not wanting to go through the day to day that is involved. And that happens obviously for hormonal reasons, different reasons, right? But with dads, I think we have that internal struggle to support and to understand and to be there, and we deal with it ourselves. But that comes with this frustration with the unknown a lot, unknowing what it takes, unknowing that the emotional toll, is not something that can be measured. And each dad and each couple deals with it differently. Because
Yeah.
sometimes the mom might rely more on the dad in this specific household, and vice versa during pregnancy, right? Sometimes the mom might come from a fully supported household and the dad might not know anything about
Yeah.
pregnancy and what happens, and she might have all the support, and he might not, right? And he might go through a lot of things. Am I being productive? Am I helping out? And maybe, his spouse might be a little short today and not understanding what he did, and a lot of questions there, creating a lot of doubts, and just not a lot of confidence in yourself as well. Sometimes could really, what can I say, damper just your ambition, wanting to be a dad, wanting to be an effective husband. And, that could kind of create an environment where relationships and households fail.
Yeah.
And you see that a lot. You see a
Yeah.
lot of frustration in the society nowadays, especially in our African American community. A lot of us, we go through the frustration. Sometimes we don't know how to communicate it. And without that communication, we don't know that we're in it together. We're with it together in
Yeah.
our own ways. And I'm not here trying to ignore you. I'm not just trying to be difficult. I'm trying to say I need help in my way. You might be trying to say you need help in your way, and we don't understand that, and we're
Yeah.
butting heads, and eventually we just clash to a point where we become unreconcilable and
Yeah.
we break up, right? So understanding that those challenges are there, and seeking out resources, because I think that's the most important part of being a father, is making sure you seek out the resources for the betterment of your family, for
Yeah.
yourself as well, and that reflects into the way you take care of your family. And if you are going through it mentally, you have to look for ways for you to alleviate that, whether it be support with your friends, family, or the Daddy Social Stroller Club. You have to look for it.
Yeah.
You can't just sit down, be by yourself, doubt yourself,
Yeah.
because a lot of times the family unit, your own family unit, kind of face the brunt of it because they're the first wave, the first layer of who you deal with, right?
Yeah.
So a lot of times a frustrated dad might take it out on his family. So, just having those resources and understanding that these things happen, it is normal, it is real.
Yeah.
Don't take it for granted. Emotions are real. And be intentional. Don't be the normal dad is, she's just talking, like, let me just ignore her
She
today.
just nagging.
Because we know, well, me being a dad and me being a husband, I see how that could become worse.
Yeah.
And that could kind of snowball, right?
Yeah,
You
yeah.
continue to ignore someone's feelings, over time that will snowball. They'll feel unheard, they'll feel invalidated, and that could create a wall, and that could just create more layers that you have to break through
Yeah,
just to
like you said,
become
a snowball
effective.
effect.
Yeah.
And then especially when the mom may not know what she's dealing with too. Like,
Right.
I don't know what the hell I'm feeling or what's going on, but
Yeah.
I need you to be supportive. And sometimes we don't know how to say that, and we do lash out, crash out, or be rude, or whatever. So having that healthy relationship definitely is needed, especially in the earlier parts of parenting, when
1,000%.
when you both are figuring it out.
Right.
I do want to ask you, what would you say to a dad who is emotionally struggling right now after having a baby and may feel like that he doesn't have a voice or someone to speak to?
I would say just be intentional about what you want and be clear about what you need.
That's good.
Because communication, we always say communication is important. Every relationship, every work relationship, every relationship out there, communication is important.
Yeah.
But do we know how to communicate effectively so that the other person gets the information and you receive what you need?
Yeah.
And I think that's an important thing. Communicate what you need. If you're feeling tired, communicate that to your wife or your spouse. Let her know so that at least you give them opportunity to at least help you with that.
Yeah.
If you know there's a disconnect there, maybe every time you come home, she might be dealing with some things too. She might not create that. You have to be intentional about looking for something, whether it be the Daddy Stroller Social Club, tapping in with your friend, your fellow, what can I say, dad, a friend that you know is a dad that's dealing with the same issues. Read your audio books. Don't take it for granted. Don't take the need to learn for granted because it's important. As we always put it out there like everything happens is general. Like it happens, you'll learn, you'll get better. That is the general case because generally people take the initiative to find what they need and apply it to themselves, right? But then there is the outliers that don't do that, right? And you don't want to become one of them. You could easily become one of them.
Yeah.
Or you could easily become someone that takes the time to intentionally find what you need, find the resources, and build yourself up so that you become productive.
Yeah.
So I'll say as a man, you have to continue to understand that it is on you to take the step to help yourself to some extent. We're not saying, oh, I know exactly what I need to do to help myself,
Yeah.
but you need to start. You need to create that
Yeah.
spark
Yeah.
to start. Because when people see you're trying, then they'll
More
try to help you.
incentive to
Because
help
a lot
you.
of times if you're just walking around frustrated, first of all, no one wants to approach you. No one might even know you need help. They might figure, yo, you already know what you're doing. You're just mad, you
Yeah.
know? So it's tough sometimes for us to see past that emotion, that frustration, and really seek out help, really seek out assistance,
Yeah.
and really seek out an avenue. And only when that happens is when we could get help. And I saw that within myself as
Yeah.
well. Until I reached out, until I really intentionally leaned on someone, is when I started to feel better about my situation, understand it better.
Yeah. And I commend you for doing that, because as we've said before, it's hard for men to say, I need help, I'm struggling, I can't do
Right.
this, because of the, what word can I say, of the stereotype
Right.
that men face. Is there something from your childhood that your mom may have, got on you about, or any lesson from then that you now understand as you now being a father?
Most definitely. It wasn't a particular lesson, but growing up being a hard to deal with child, let's just put it like that. And my mother being a single mother. She did have help from my grandmother, but I was hard to deal with because I was one of those children that had so much energy and wanted to know everything. And I know my mom, she was working for herself. She was a seamstress, she did other jobs to kind of take care of us. So she probably didn't have as much time to really dedicate towards me. So growing up as a dad, I could see how hard mothers have it. And it helped me kind of understand how much support is needed because we don't see it. And growing up in a household that was predominantly women, I saw my aunt go through it. Obviously, just lived with my grandmother and understanding she went through it. Then seeing my cousins go through it, who were women and had children, and then just understanding the struggle and being closer to it to really understand it, to experience it with them. I saw how hard it was. And I know not a lot of men have that understanding or have that opportunity to be that close to women and that close to the experience. But it helped me kind of soften up my understanding of a lot of things that women go through and try to be more present. I might not understand, and I think that's the problem a lot of men get themselves in, is trying to understand fully. I think the most valuable part is just trying to be present and supportive.
Yeah.
You might not understand, but I feel like just the support of being there and being able to help in whatever capacity is what's most valuable.
Yeah, definitely. Before I ask you my last question, do you have any questions for me?
Um, Not necessarily questions, because I do understand probably the need for, your podcast, and I see how impactful it could be, especially nowadays with a lot of questions that parents have. Um, I think it's needed for what you're doing, what I'm doing, just the awareness of how hard parenthood is, how important it is for us to come together, mothers and
Yes.
fathers,
Yeah.
men and women, um, and put aside our differences, because that's what it needs. That's what us as a society and as a healthy household
Yeah,
need,
definitely.
is for us to be able to live, overcome our differences, because essentially if we're able to do that, we get able to teach our children how to do that, right?
Yeah.
So the better they are at doing that, is the better we are as a society. So I don't have any questions, just more understanding your mission and being glad that you wanted me to be part of this
Of
discussion
course.
today and to
Yes.
offer what I have.
Yes. So my last question for you, and I'm going to ask every dad this also. What does dad know? And the reason I'm asking this is because I truly feel like you guys carry a different sense of wisdom that's unique to your experience, and a wisdom that really comes from sacrificing in silence, from showing up when you may not get a hand clap, or you may not get that thank you or that what you needed, to fulfill how you feel. Maybe it's something that you were taught as a child or something that you grasped to or learned from. But I just want to ask you, what does dad know?
Dad knows that he has to do his job regardless. Um, and I know a lot of men understand this, but sometimes we make it seem as though it's a bad thing. I feel we hold a lot of power in this world as men. And with that, we have to understand that there's an importance in honoring our commitments and doing our job regardless of how we feel. Yes, society does dismiss how we feel quite a lot, because that's the norm.
Yeah.
Because men are supposed to overcome feelings and produce regardless.
Yeah.
Because we are essentially the forerunners. We take care of things. We manage the world generally, right? And I hold that with high importance. So that's why I'll say I know that it's important for me to get a grasp of things, whether it be my household, my finances, whether it be my feelings, my emotions, whether it be, just how I support not just my household, but my community. It's super important for
Yeah.
just the betterment of the world in
Yeah.
generally. So I know it's just a matter of just showing up, doing what I got myself into, whether it be, a marriage or relationship
Yeah.
or having a baby mama, and just taking care of that to the best of my abilities.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, I do want to have a legacy when I leave, and I want it to be of one that says that I was here, I was supportive, I loved on the people that was in my life,
Yeah.
and everyone that wasn't really a part of it at least knew that I was a good man, and I wanted to make a good, positive change in the world.
I like that. I like that. Just a side note, I said that was the last question. How do you and your wife make sure that both of your cultures are immersed into your son?
I would say
Two
we have to
dominant
be, yeah,
cultures.
very, very dominant, because I'm Caribbean and we take a lot of pride, and we always want to, dominate in our impact. And my wife is Chinese, it's huge, has a lot of ancestral relevance, and
Cultural
impact and culture, right?
beliefs. Yeah.
I would say is as much as we know, we just go with it from day to day. I would say I lean on a lot of music and a lot of the way I speak. I'll bring it out more with him. You might not hear my little patois in how I speak, because I did a lot of sales, and just for the essence of a podcast, I want to make sure you guys understand me clearly. But I do always speak to him the way that we speak in Trinidad, so he could understand that. He could understand the music. And my wife, she has more of like the culture part when it comes to like cooking, understanding the cuisine, and a little bit of language as well, because we do
Okay.
want him to be bilingual.
Yes.
So we take it day by day, and her strong suits, she would lean on that, and I would lean on mine. The more we learn, we know about each other's culture, is the more we'll pour in
Yeah.
in my son. And we don't limit it because, again, we want to max him out as much as we can.
Definitely.
And kids are outstanding. We don't send him enough. So whatever he can take, we'll give it to him, and he'll become that individual,
Yeah.
knowing that we were there to support and give him as much as he could.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it. Well, thank you for being here.
Of course.
And for dropping a lot of gems, because I was over here like, oh my goodness.
Well, I try
The
try
way
to.
that you articulate what
Mhm.
you feel and your mission and your goals is commendable. The way that you're present for your wife, I commend you because I was once in a season that needed what you were offering to her.
Right.
So I understand both aspects of it, and how you're so present for not just yourself and your own emotions and your availability, but for your wife's. That's very inspiring to see. And I'm sure that she appreciates that because it's not often. Just to be honest.
Yeah, and sorry to interject a little bit. It comes from just me being intentional because my family curse is absentee dads. I actually sat down and thought about how much close family I have that had the dad present while they were growing up, and I couldn't think of any.
So you're breaking generational curses.
And I'm intentional because I know the struggles I had and seen my mom struggle growing up.
Yeah,
You
makes
know,
you want to be different.
and I couldn't do anything for her, and seeing what I grew up struggling with because of not having my father, not being decisive, not a lot of things that
Yeah.
men are supposed to have, I had to really learn it the hard way. So not wanting my son to deal with that, sometimes, I am overindulgent in how much I need to know and how I am there. So that's why I do take that self-sacrificing role in my family, my relationship, because I want to make sure that I do things differently this
Yeah.
time, yeah.
Being intentional.
Most definitely.
Being intentional is a learned task, but something that I feel that we all need to acquire for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah. Learn it the tough way, whichever way, just learn it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for sitting down with us and tuning into this conversation. I know that there was something that he said that you can take along with you. Like we said, if you need help, it's okay to say that you need help. It's okay not to be okay. It's okay to not know what the heck is going on. We're all figuring it out. We are all learning as we go. There's no rule book that is given to us in the delivery room to say day one, do this, day two, do that. We're learning with our children. And I feel like that is one of the beauties of parenting. You are raising and guiding and loving on a little human, but that little human is also showing you so much about yourself, so much about life. So I feel like it makes sense. Let's just say that. Your kids will teach you more than you ever will know. They will show you a lot of parts about yourself that you may have not known was present. But I just encourage any mom or any dad who may be going through a hard time to give yourself grace. Stick it out, learn from the lessons, learn from the mistakes, and use it as a tool to help you to be better. We're not perfect. We're all learning, as I said, and I think it's just important to not be hard on yourself and don't compare yourself to other people. Everyone's journey is not your journey. What other people are going through, you may not be experiencing right now, but I do believe that there's someone out here that can help you in whatever season of parenting you're in. You can always tune into the Momversations podcast, and I'm sure that there's something that can give you that little pep that you may need. I have enjoyed this series with the dads. I am so glad that I passed them the mic and let them express how they feel, because I feel like we all can understand each other differently. Season 2 is coming, so be on the lookout. But I did have to give the men this platform because they matter. Dads matter too. As always, I love you guys. I hope you guys make good decisions. And as I always say, don't let these kids stress you out. See you next time.